Good evening, and thank you so much for listening in. I'm Jennifer McQueen, and we are talking Assembly Bill 1316. I am a mom of three non-classroom-based charter school learners, and I also represent 38 families, which encompass 140 voices in the Los Banos Co-op. We live in a very small town area like thousands of others. We attend a charter that is not based in our own county. And this is very similar to a lot of small town families. We attend a charter that is based out of a neighboring county. Now, should AB 1316 be put into place, all of these learners, exactly like mine, will no longer be able to attend their current charter. And many of them have been attending since the very beginning of their educational journey. But here to dive deeper into what is going on with AB 1316 and what is next for us is Wendy Eklund, founder of Legislation Take Action. Welcome, Wendy, and thank you so much for taking the time to chat again.
Thank you, Jennifer, for having me.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit about yourself and, of course, about Legislation Take Action.
So I am also a homeschool mom of three, and I kind of founded, it's not really an entity or anything, but I brought forth Legislation Take Action because we kept having these bills come kind of attacking our charter schools. And so I was looking for a way to organize all of us. And so I made the Facebook page, which now we also have a page on Homeschool Concierge, which is a nonprofit that I founded a number of years ago. So we're just here to serve the homeschool community and make sure that we're all aware of these bills that are attacking our choices in education.
Yes, Ed, you are certainly keeping us informed and in the know, which we all want to be, that's for sure.
So again, doing great, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to make sure, again, before we move on, everybody please follow at Legislation Take Action on Facebook and Instagram. And of course, visit the website. There are a ton of updates daily, multiple times. You'll find a lot on that website. You'll find lots of info, templates, lots of links on how to find your assembly members, where to call, so you can really get everything that you're probably wondering right about now off of that website. Right. All right. So let's actually turn back a little bit to our last talk and just give everybody a little reminder on what exactly is the process of passing a bill like this.
Okay, so this bill was introduced by an assembly member, a California assembly member. So that means that it starts on the assembly side of the Capitol. And it starts because it's an education bill in the Education Committee. So that's where we saw this bill yesterday show up, and we saw their discussion about the bill. It passed that committee 5-2. And it was straight down party lines with all the Democrats voting to pass the bill through and all the Republicans voting to not pass it through. But there's only 2 Republicans in that committee. So that's why it moves on. But do not worry. We still have more time to fight this bill. I know people get panicked like, oh my gosh, it passed. When does it become a law? It's not going to be a law yet. So what happens next is it moves to the Assembly Appropriations Committee, and they are going to look at it based on how much it's going to cost California to implement this law. So it will be there. I believe it has to be in print for a certain amount of time, and then it will be there. I can't remember because I haven't had enough sleep lately, but it will be there, and I will post updates about when it's going to be there. So what we need to do, though, then after that, it moves to the assembly floor. And that's where all of our assembly members talk about it and vote on it. So if it passes those 3 stops on the assembly side of the Capitol, it moves over to the Senate side of the Capitol. And this is our California senators, not our federal senators in Washington, D.C. So there it will hit the same 2 committees, the Senate Education Committee, and then the Senate Appropriations Committee, and then the Senate floor. If for some reason they make any edits or amendments to the bill on the Senate side, it then has to jump back over to the Assembly side where they re-review it and have to vote on it again on the Assembly floor. Once it clears both of those sides and those committees and floors, it then goes to the governor's desk for the governor to sign or not sign. Hopefully, did that make sense? I kind of got off on a tangent. Okay.
Yes, it does. And so really, for me, the biggest takeaway that I would really like to highlight is that this is not over.
Right.
And it is not too late.
It has just started. So,
that's right.
So pace yourselves.
Exactly. We still need to stay strong.
Right.
And we still need to stay strong in our opposition because it is not over.
Exactly.
Okay,
right.
Good. I know that's what a lot of people are thinking and worried about, that because they hear that it was approved, that this is a done deal. So I know everybody will be very relieved to hear that this is far from over, and we still have a lot of work to do.
Although they may be feeling tired, but there's still a lot more to do. So gear up for more.
Yes, absolutely. You are right. Okay, so now we all know that AB 1316 was approved, but with amendments. Yes. For those of us, though, that are still a little confused about that, and quite frankly, I know a lot of people, for lack of better words, are super concerned. What exactly are the amendments?
So that's an interesting question, because those amendments, okay, I've not checked in the last hour, but those amendments were not available in writing yet. And so we don't know exactly what they are. But if you were listening to the hearing, you did hear O'Donnell say that one of the amendments was going to be, they were going to grandfather in the charters that were already in existence with our small authorizers. So if we do see that amendment in writing, that's going to help a lot of our schools be able to remain with their authorizers. That's the only amendment that we actually heard spoken of. We heard other questions that were brought up, like about the contiguous counties. Tongue twister. So the contiguous counties, that's where if the charter is approved in one county, it can serve the students in that county and all the counties that touch. So that's the case for non-classroom based charter schools. And so there was a number of assembly members asking questions about that because, like you said, Jennifer, there are a lot of counties that don't have charter schools that are non-classroom based. So it's going to leave students in those areas without any. So it will be interesting to see if they do come up with an amendment for that. But until they actually publish the amendments, we don't know exactly what. But I will let everyone know through the pages when those amendments are published.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up again about, a lot of these learners in small town, rural California. I remember, I believe it was Assemblywoman Dolly that was sharing that her nieces, I believe it was, are in the exact same situation that my own children are in, where they're attending that, charter that's in a neighboring county. So I know this will be a big, big hot topic issue for a lot of people.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
All right. So thanks for breaking that down for us, because I know there are a lot of questions circling these amendments. So we appreciate that. So keep an eye out, everybody. We will also update you. Wendy will also be updating the legislation take action page. So as these amendments start rolling out and more information is available, you can definitely get it on that Facebook page and the website. All right. So I want to talk about the Education Committee hearing, because you were actually at the Capitol in person yesterday for this hearing, and you had an opportunity to express your opposition during the public comment, as brief as it was. Yeah. It was. I know it was very enjoyable for me being on those phone lines to hear your voice. So I was very appreciative to hear you. Yeah, it really was quite a moment. It was really special to connect with you here and then really hear your voice there in person. So I know I am very grateful and very appreciative of all the people who were there in person. I know that really meant a lot to a lot of us that, could not be there yesterday. Right. But take a moment to talk to us a little bit about what it was like to be there and sort of what the feel was there.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned having my voice be there, because I always feel like, I've been doing this for a number of years now. And during the pandemic, we've been on the phone lines, and I feel like we're such a tight knit community that when we hear each other's voice, we're like, yay, go, whoever it was. So that's really sweet. Thank you for saying that. So I get excited too when I hear people that I know opposing, or if we ever got to support a bill, supporting. So yesterday was an experience. So normally when you go to the Capitol, it's an open park and you can just walk into the park and walk up and go through security and go in. But yesterday when I arrived, I got there super early because I wanted to make sure that nobody got in front of us and that our group was first. So I got there about 6:45, I think, and the whole Capitol is barricaded off. You can't get in at all. And so I walked around and I found a spot where the barricade is like a metal gate. And I just moved it and walked up because I saw where they were setting up the remote stations for making public comment. And I saw the highway patrol there. And so I walked up and I wanted to be in line in front of the door where the security checks you in. So I went up there and they let the CHP officer came over and I was like, oh, are they going to make me go back out to the street? Am I allowed to be up here? But so they were so friendly. Like, it was crazy how nice they were. The CHP was very welcoming, explained everything to me, told me like where to stand, told me it was fine that I had done that. And then a little, like maybe a half hour later, the sergeant at arms officers showed up and the CHP came over, introduced me to them. They all made me feel so welcome, which is so nice. So I was super impressed with their service. And so then the sergeant at arms walked me through like what that's going to look like where we're going to stand, where we're going to wait in line, what time they're going to let us in. And the other interesting thing that they said was they were apologizing to me, like, we're so sorry, we have to escort you in and out of the building. You cannot walk the halls on your own. Like, you have to be escorted. And he's like, people are upset about that. And I'm like, well, actually, I appreciate that because I have no idea where the new room is because they used to always be on a different floor in a larger chamber with 2 stories. And now they're in this tiny little chamber. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, if they just open the door and let us in, I'm not going to know where to even go. So then I won't even get a seat. So they walked us in, and then walked us back out. So that was great. Well, then I'm in the committee chambers and we have a few seats. So they only let 7 of us in. There was 4 witnesses that were scheduled to talk for the 2 minutes. If you were listening, you heard them talk. So they had 4 seats of their own first. And then the rest of us got to fill in. And remember, I had said there's only 11 seats total, period. So there wasn't a lot of us in there, but a few of us made it in. And it was a little disheartening to hear, the assembly member present the bill and kind of attack charter schools and not necessarily share what's true about them, talking about how, the teachers aren't credentialed and people aren't background checked, which is not true. We all know that our schools are background checking and the teachers are credentialed. So that was upsetting. And it's frustrating while you're sitting right there and there's all of these people that are experts. Like, I was sitting next to Myrna from CCSA. She's the leader of a charter school association, and she's an expert also in how these schools work. And they're talking amongst themselves, sharing misinformation, and then asking the DA questions, and then asking Mike questions from FICMAT, but not asking any of us, or not even asking Myrna what her opinion was or how this works. And then you all heard Bennett say that our schools, if they're going to take public funds and they're a private institution, they're responsible for showing. Well, our charter schools are all public, nonprofit companies, or not even companies. They're all public, nonprofit schools. So they don't, I just felt like, oh my gosh, you guys don't even know the current laws. And now you're trying to legislate new laws. So that was frustrating. But it was good to be able to speak there in person. And it was great to hear people on the phones. And then they were really accommodating with the outside station for talking. I was a little disappointed that the moderator from AT&T had so many technical difficulties and more people didn't get to talk. So, but we will have another chance at the appropriations, and then we'll have another chance on the Senate side. So there's still time.
There is. Yes. I know a lot of people were hitting that 1-0, 1-0.
Oh,
trying to get through.
I should tell you guys while I have you, and we're talking about the 1-0. You push the 1-0 and then you wait. And yes, it can be a really long time because there's a lot of us. And that operator has to come on and say, you're this number in the queue. And then you need to write that number down and you need to be listening for that number. So if you hit 1-0 and then think oh, nothing happened, and you hit it again, it actually takes you out of queue. So do not hit it more than once. Yes.
And I will chime in and add on to that, since we're touching on that topic real quick. Something that I found when I called, so you're kind of on the line and you're waiting, and you put your phone on speaker while you walk around and do other things. And then it gets to the time for you to push that 1 and 0, which I did with my phone on speaker, and it did not register it. And it took me a minute to figure that out. And it just, people kept talking. And so I just figured I was waiting and waiting. But then I read back on some of the info and I thought, what, I think there's supposed to be some kind of beep or something, or some kind of indication that it accepted my pushing the buttons. So I actually took my cell phone off of speaker and then hit the 1-0, and it went right away. Okay. So that's just something, I don't know if that's only me, but just something to know. So anyways,
Go ahead.
No, well, I was just going to say it must have been quite an experience being there, because I know that for me, like I mentioned, I was on the phone and how excited it was to hear you. But at the same time, just as you were saying, the frustrations were very real. And sitting on the phone and listening to it invoked a lot of emotions in me. So I can only imagine what it was like to, be there in person and to be seeing it live like that.
Yeah, because it's not like you can yell out like, Bennett, you have it wrong, or O'Donnell, why are you lying? Like, you can't do that. You have to be respectful of the process, and we're not supposed to talk. It's even frustrating that all you can say is your name, your affiliation, and that you oppose or support. Like, because there's all these people making these decisions. None of them are experts in what the situation is. And yet the people are right there that are passionate about it and living in that world. So it's very, very frustrating. The other thing I wanted to point out that we had trouble with on the phone lines is that, and I know how difficult it is because I also have children, but you're on there waiting and then you don't know that they've turned your phone line on. And so I know that it's hard because you're sometimes on there for 2 hours waiting, but it's really important that we look like we know what we're doing and that we're smart. So it's, pay attention and listen, and don't call in during the wrong bill, because then they get frustrated. They're like, and they're rolling their eyes like, well, these are the homeschoolers calling on the wrong bill. And so we try to pay attention. And so we were posting, all of us were posting like, no, this is the wrong bill. Do the right bill. Wait for AB 1316. And then, of course, they had AB 1361 right before ours, which was even really confusing for people. So it's really imperative that we slow down and pay attention. But like you were saying, you're walking around the house with your phone on speaker because you're playing with the kids, teaching the kids, right? So we're doing the best we can. But I also told them afterwards that, I know you guys get frustrated, but at least you know that we're real constituents. We're real families in your districts that are calling in to oppose this. We are not experts in opposing legislation, although the more legislation they bring about, the better we get.
And isn't that the truth? And we are so lucky to have somebody like you to be sort of a constant figure in all these battles to give us your, experience. So speaking of organizing and what sort of, front you want to put forth, that's really a perfect segue, because, I know we talked a little bit about this last time, but the circumstances were different. So now we all need our updated guidance. We all want to know. Everybody wants to know, what is next? What are the plans? What should we be doing? What can we do specifically as individuals? And then also, what is going on in terms of a larger organized group?
Okay, so that's a lot of questions. Okay, so let's see. To start with, if you want to, I was hoping that the amendments would be out today and we'd have information to move forward and look for things that we want to ask of our assembly members, but I don't have that information yet. So I don't have an update as to that, our asks, but I don't think that there's anything wrong with continuing the phone calls to our own assembly members. So find your own assembly member and contact their office. Tomorrow's Friday, so you might want to contact their district office within your neighborhood or within your area, and just have a conversation about what happened during the committee, how the testimony did not run smoothly. AT&T had technical difficulties. People were hung up on. People couldn't hear that their phone lines had been released. All kinds of issues. So the public voice was not heard. Ask your assembly member to share with you how many phone calls they're getting, how many letters they're getting in support, and how many they're getting in opposition. Is there a balance? That's information I'd like to know from every assembly member and from the education committee. So ask them that. Share that you heard some misinformation during the assembly hearing, during the assembly education committee, and that it is not true that our teachers don't have credentials, and it's not true that we don't background check our vendors and our teachers, and that all charter schools in California are required to be nonprofits. So just share that information and just, make that contact, find out who that person is at the office and say, you know what, as more information comes available, can I reach out to you again? Is there someone else that I should reach out to? Can I get an email address for the best person to reach out to? I just want to make sure that you have the facts before you go to vote on this on the assembly floor, before you're, well, this would probably be their boss, because usually it's a staffer. So you say, before your boss has to go out and vote on this, you want the information. So that's kind of what we can do now. The other thing that I really think we need to work on, and this is not my strong suit, I've been learning this. So we need to be posting on social media, either facts about charter schools, pictures of your kids engaging and learning, sharing the concepts, or, whatever is fun to you to share, posting that on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, whatever your thing is, using the tags. And I was trying to add hashtag no on AB1316 and then hashtag 1316 to our tags. But for some reason, the website wasn't updating. So I'll work on that tonight. But there's a number of other tags that we've created to get this grassroots movement going, because there is a number of, someone was posting today that if you search AB1316, that most of the posts are about support. So we want to far outweigh those support posts with our opposition posts, showing either our amazing kids or showing facts that you want to put out there. If you don't want to put your kids up there, whatever you're comfortable doing. I think we need to do that. And there is a post on Legislation Take Action, the website on Homeschool Concierge, and I believe it's on the Facebook page, but it might be a little harder to find on the Facebook page. So I'd go to the website to find that one. And the picture of it is a picture of my daughter standing with a woolly mammoth. I was just trying to give some examples. Like, if you want to do pictures, you can do fun field trips you've been on, different learning things. So that is there. So that's another thing that we can do while we wait for information. And then the next step will be that we're going to start contacting the assembly appropriations, but I don't think we're quite ready to do that yet. So let's keep our conversations going with our own assembly members and the social media thing. And then the second question you asked, Jennifer, was about a larger.
Yes, right? If you could any details that you are prepared or ready to share with everybody about anything that's going on in terms of organizing as a larger group.
Yes. So in the past, when I've tried to fight these bills, it's just kind of been one woman show. So I have all of these amazing moms who are reaching out and wanting to help. So I'm so excited that we're trying to put together a group, and we're going to build a type form where we can take applications for who wants to be a point person. We want a point person for each assembly district and each Senate district, that we can then have other people rally around to share information with our legislators. And so we're going to work on that and get that out. And what else are we doing with that, Jennifer?
Well, I think that, I will say, I think that's a good beginning step, because I think that is what a lot of people want to know, is what is happening, what is going on. And I think there's just a lot of passion and a lot of enthusiasm buzzing around there. And we do not want to lose that. We want to capitalize on that. So I think it's great to give people ideas of things that they can be doing in the meantime, because we all want to be, we all want to continue to be heard. So to continue to contact your local assembly member, continue to put in those phone calls, continue to do those emails. I love the promoting the positivity. We're not just here to be noisemakers, but let's give an example to the, to everyone in California who is for this bill, why our learning journey and our educational setup is so valuable and successful. Let's put a face to it. So I love that. And then I think a lot of people are going to be happy to know that you are taking steps towards a bigger movement and a larger group. So for everybody out there to know that, yes, there is something going on. You will have an opportunity to volunteer and join. I like to kind of describe it as like a neighborhood watch. We're going to have all of our captains, you know, our go-tos in each of these districts. And, you know, we, the parents, we really are going to make a stand.
Yeah.
So I want to thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for taking your time to share with us. Of course, we always can learn from your experience, your knowledge.
Yeah, learn from each other, right?
So thank you again. You know, I really want to bring everybody's attention one more time. Please make sure that you follow @Legislation Take Action on Facebook and Instagram. It's right there on the bottom of your screen. And of course, visit that website. Again, you will get all the information that you need from that website. You can stay up to date on social media and right there on the website. All right. So I want to let everybody know, we're going to drop one more little nugget here. Tomorrow, you will be able to see us tomorrow evening back here. We will be putting up some more information. We are going to have a special guest on with myself and Wendy to talk a little bit more about that large group organization, getting us together, getting us organized, and letting our voice be heard that we strongly oppose AB 1316.
Yes,
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.